Hello, today we will discuss about Q and the Q in Python with Bautista, John Fonzy, Baldorado, Lian Mark, Elijah, Racelis, Winston, Hector, and Sayno, Vincent, Paul. Q in Python. Livestock Q is a linear data structure that stores items in first out manner. With a queue, the recently added item is removed first. A good example of queue is any queue of consumers for a resources where the consumer that came first is served first. And this is the example. Operation associated with queues are enqueue adds an item to the queue. If the queue is full, then it is said to be an overflow condition or time complexity. The queue removes an item from the queue. The items are propped in the same order in which they are pushed. If the queue is empty, then it is said to be an underflow condition. Front. Get the front item from queue. And rear. Get the last item from queue.
Implementation. There are various ways to implement a queue in Python. This article covers the implementation of queue using data structures and modules from Python library. Queue in Python can be implemented by the following ways. First is list, collection dequeue, and last queue.queue. Implementation using list. List is a Python built-in data structure that can be used as a queue. Instead of in-queue function and the queue function, a friend function and pub function is used. However, lists are quite slow for this purpose because inserting or deleting an element at the beginning requires shifting all of the other elements by one, requiring O or N on time. This is the example of code using this in queue. And when we execute this code, this is the output. Next. Implementation using collection.dequeue. Queue is Python can be implemented using the queue class from the collection module. The queue is preferred over list in the cases where we need quicker append and pop operations from both the ends of a container, as the queue provides an O time complexity for append and pop operation as compared to list which provides O time complexity instead of in queue, and the queue append and pop left function are used. This is the example of using collection.dequeue in Python. And when we try to execute this code, this is the output.
Implementation using Q.Q. There are various functions available in this module, and these functions are as follows. Max size function, which is the number of items allowed in the queue. Empty function, which refers to the return true if the queue is empty and false otherwise. Full function, which returns true if there are max size items in the queue. If the queue was initialized with max size equals 0, which is the default, then full function never turns true. Get function, which removes and returns an item from the queue. If queue is empty, wait until an item is available. underscore no wait function. This returns an item if one is immediately available, or else it will raise queue empty. Put item function. Puts an item into the queue. If the queue is full, wait until a free slot is available before adding the item. Put underscore no wait item function. This puts an item into the queue without blocking. If no free slot is immediately available, it raises queue full. Queue size function returns the number of items in the queue. So this is the example which is done in online GTV, and the output is shown in the right corner. Next, the queue in Python. The queue or double-ended queue in Python is implemented using the module collections. The queue is preferred over a list in the cases where we need quicker append and pop operations from both the ends of the container, as the queue provides an O one-time complexity for append and pop operations as compared to list which provides O n-time complexity. So on the right is the example of the queue in Python. Next.
Let's see various operations on the queue. Append. This function is used to insert the value in its argument to the right end of the queue. Append left. This function is used to insert the value in its argument to the left end of the queue. Pop. This function is used to delete an argument from the right end of the queue. Puff left. This function is used to delete an argument from the left end of the D of the DQ. Next. Example. So these are the example. Python code to demonstrate working on of append, append left, pop, and puff left. Importing collections for the queue. Operations import collections. Initializing the queue. D equal collection dot the queue, then 1, 2, 3. Using append to insert element at right end. Inserts 4 at the end of the queue. D dot append, then 4. Printing modified the queue. Print the queue after appending at right is print print. Hashtag using append left to insert element at left and insert left and insert 6 at the beginning of the queue. T dot append left, then 6. Printing modified the queue. Print, then string the queue after appending at left is print D. Using pop to delete element from right end, delete 4 from the right end of the queue. D dot pop, then parenthesis. Printing modified the queue. Print string the queue after deleting from right is, then print D. Then using puff left to delete element from left end, delete 6 from the left end of the queue. D dot puff left, then parenthesis. Then the last one is printing modified the queue. Print string the queue after deleting from left is, then print D. So this will be the output. The queue after appending at the right is deque 1, 2, 3, 4. The deque after append at left is deque 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. The deque after deleting from right is the deque 6, 1, 2, 3. Then the last one is the deque after deleting from left is deque 1, 2, 3. Next. Index L beg and this function returns the first index of the value mentioned in arguments, starting searching from beg till and index. Insert I and A. This function inserts the value mentioned in arguments A at index I specified in arguments. Remove this function removes the first occurrence of value mentioned in arguments. Count this function counts the number of occurrences of value mentioned in argument. Python 3. So this is the example code. Then on the left side, this is the output. Next. Extend iterable. This function is used to add multiple values at the right end of the queue. The argument pass is iterable. Extend left iterable. This function is used to add multiple values at the left end of the queue. The argument pass is iterable. Order is reversed as a result of left appends. Reverse. This function is used to reverse the order of the queue elements. Then the last one is rotate. This function rotates the dequeue by the number specified in arguments. If the number specified is negative, rotation occurs to the left, else rotation is to right. So here are the code.
So here's the example uh, codes of different function from module deque. We use function extend left, rotate, and reverse. And here's the example, the output of the example code. So stop nyo na lang yung vid para makita nyo ng malinaw yung mga example codes and outputs. That's all. Next. That's all. Thank you.